Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. So, where to start? We have been trying to all of our efforts to activate um, a group body ascension effort. Lord Melchizedek in 2010 had come in and asked us to initiate an ascension wave to guide us into becoming what he called the bridge, or creating an opening into the heaven, as a that we would be the architects or the engineers that would become the actual armature to create this edifice into the heaven. Now, this structure, as he said, as he called it, would help us connect to a network of other doorway or portal that exists from the solar realm into the galactic realm, from the galactic into universal, the universal into the cosmic, etc., all the way back to God, that already exists, but that is still having problem connecting to Earth. And our purpose is in incarnating on Earth at this time is to volunteer and become the bridge builders, the individual that would create this part of the structure to allow an ascent and a descent of energies back and forth because of the Zerapin, or the shield, or that the demiurge has created around the earth and our existence in 3D existence. And that is connected directly to the overstimulation of our five senses by 3D reality, matrix illusion, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And so, because of this, we have to figure out a way to transcend all the stimuli and allow our consciousness, our awareness, to shift from 3D into 4D, 5D, and so on, all the way back to God, all the way back to all the upper realm. And that requires a shift in identity, a shift in who we think we are. In the Bible, at some point, Moses asked God for his name, and God responded, I am that I am. I want you to ponder very carefully about what I'm saying. What we are doing with the torsion field, allowing the guardian to come in, to create a torsion field around us. Now, the first guardian is connected to the fourth dimension. So the structure that he's creating, that he's gifting us, is not in the 3D. We exist in the 3D. Our consciousness occupies it with all of the seven chakras. Seven chakra being on top of here. There is another etheric me that exists above, that's higher. That etheric me is has chakra 8 to chakra 15 in it. The guardian will then create around that part of me that exists in that higher realm what neutrality is, and the neutrality that he knows he's going to share it with that part of me, that will then cascade the frequency down into my physical body, into my normal 3D awareness, that will cause a shift. Meaning, energetically, emotionally, I will transcend and realize I am no longer in my physical body. The awareness I have of myself in space is not to the edge of my skin anymore. I feel energetically, I feel volumetrically, I feel spatially that I am bigger. Put in a different way, it is that my presence has now shifted from being 3D in the edge of my skin into a fourth-dimensional awareness outside of my body. It is a complete shift that my presence now is in the fourth-dimensional awareness. This is why I'm asking the time of the day when you're doing the practice that you can spend more time. If you can allow for more than one breath when the first guardian or any of the guardians come in to gift you their gift, it would be to your advantage. And at that moment, allow yourself to explore what is my presence in the fourth dimension, my beingness in the 4D. What is it that like? Because that's the gift that the guardian is really giving you. It's not just a woozy sensation of floating of energy. It's actually presence and beingness. And that presence and that beingness and that expansion as it begins to be created, and you're now assimilated. So the process is for you to figure out a way to anchor it, to connect to it, to ground it in you, to make it familiar, and not only familiar, but to make it now default. And that's the whole process of what I'm trying to guide you into. Now, if you can do this with the fourth dimension, you can extend it when the second guardian comes in, which comes in 5D. Again, at this time, if fourth dimension chakra system was involved with chakra 8 to 14, fifth dimensional guardian, the second guardian, who was the fifth dimension, involved chakra 16 to chakra 22. And that guardian, as it comes in, it will gift you an expansion. It will create a safe volume. It will break the zerapine that may exist around yourself in the 5D. It will break it and allow for a different awareness of yourself in a 5-dimensional body, what it would feel or be like. And it's going to temporarily share it with you. And again, your responsibility is to explore that beingness, explore that extension, explore what that presence, what do I feel or am I like? The I am that I am. What am I like in that fifth dimension? It is important for us to understand this, because as you continue this all the way up, sixth dimension, seventh dimension, 10th dimension, 14th dimension, 15th, all of a sudden, if you stack up your awareness at every dimension and your presence as it continues to escalate going up, when you're done, and I'm talking not done in one sitting, but doing the practice for, let's say, a month, 2 months, or whatever, on a regular basis, what's going to happen is that your presence, your beingness outside of the confine of your physical body is going to remain with you. It's going to remain with you for hours at the time. When the practice is finished, you're going to walk around sensing and feeling that you're more than human. And the way that this is going to be created is that you're going to have a sense that you're extremely tall and wide. You're outside of your own physical flesh and bone. And it's going to create a rest, a sense of tremendous serenity, and a sense of we had spoken about Lord Xenophon, Archangel Xenophon, which in the Kabbalistic teaching they call him the Lord of extended height. it's going to create an incredible sense of detachment from the 3D stimuli that used to take you and make you spin around. The things that used to trigger you emotionally with your friends, with your family member, with things that are going around the world. If everything else that's happening, and right now, and let me just say this, the dark forces, the principalities, or the demiurge per se, it is activating full-blown crises because it knows right now there is an opportunity for us to ascend en masse. And it's doing this deliberately to create such panic in us that we remain bombarded by stimuli of fear, of chaos, and we don't step into this higher and true role that encompasses our entire beingness in all dimensions of time and space. It's doing this deliberately. And if we can still walk around, no matter what the news and the media, they are bombarding us, and the media platform, because they're owned by few corporations, or complicit in the agitation, the emotional and psychological agitation. They are complicit in it. But if you can create an environment in which you can, you through this transcendence, through this presence, to this awareness that you are much more than what you're witnessing and what you're hearing in the world. And that presence is so potent that it is keeping you not only safe and neutral and protecting you, but more importantly, you're supported. You're not alone. And that's going to give you a tremendous amount of non-attachment to what's happening in the 3D world. It's going to give you much more than that, but that's the first effect. It's a non-attachment to what's happening in the 3D world. It won't allow you to, it won't let you spin around and go insane. You will hear things, they will not affect you anymore. More importantly, you will hear things and you will not be triggered. You will not feel like you bitten something and you flare up in anger and rage, and because you will remember who you are. And that everything that's happening in the planet is a play. And it will give you not only alignment, but a sense of deep wisdom and understanding. Deep and tremendous wisdom and understanding for the karma of the world, the karma of your associate, your friends, your family member, your own karma, and all the things that you need to do, and all the things you need not to do, you need not to react to. That understanding of your presence, of your beingness, your I am that I am, at every torsion field is the key. It's the key to everything. If for the next month we can begin to do the practice that way, there is no question in my mind that we will ascend. Some of you have already started, and I have said this in the early class this morning. We are now, as a group body, moving back and forth. The Christ initiation, the threshold of ascension, is the 12th level of initiation. Many of us are dabbing or crossing that boundary, but it's like a sine wave. We cross the boundary at moment for hours. We remain in that presence, and then we dip back down because we allow stimuli in this world to kind of catch us, and moment of weakness and blah blah blah. We practice again, and then we wave back up again, and we go like this and like this. But there comes a point where the sine wave begins to actually move outside of the 3D standard, where it will be in the upper realm only. If we can maintain the sense of that presence, of us being a celestial being walking on earth. And the awareness of I am that I am. That's who I really am. If we can maintain this for 51% of the time, we have achieved the 12th level of initiation. And that's the thing we need to remember, is that we are not the point is to take your time. This is why I'm saying a lot of time the recording and my recording of this class and all that, and the meditation I may send you, you need that to learn the general framework of how the torsion field works. Once you get that, you don't need to listen to any of my recordings and any recording related to torsion field anymore. You have to do the practice in silence, because each of the torsion field, each time a guardian comes in, maybe the first guardian comes in and it might be more complicated for you to shift into that presence for the first 2 or 3 guardian, and it might take you longer. And if it takes you longer, then as you sit around, you might, instead of doing everything in one breath, the torsion field may be created, and you might sit for a moment and take 2 or 3 more breaths to allow yourself to explore because you're going to feel energetically that you're bigger. But if you ask yourself a simple questions like, what is my beingness in this dimension? What is my presence in this dimension? What does it look like? What does it feel like to exist outside of my body into the 4D? And once you feel satisfied that you're getting some information, although the information you're going to get is not going to be linear. It's not going to be, it feels like, like a box or like a square or like a circle. You're going to get an energetic understanding of what it is, a feeling for what it is. Once you feel satisfied, then you ask the second guardian to come in and to guide you into the gift of the second guardian, and the third, and the fourth, and etc. And whatever time frame it takes, it takes. And sometimes when you're doing this, what happens is that, let's say you get to the 6th guardian or the 8th guardian, all of a sudden images will show up. And these images, or you appear to see or experience something else. Or at moment, if it's not images or something else, and it seems almost like a distraction, like something else is taking, it's because yourself, your higher body that exists in that realm, was probably doing something else. And in order for you to understand that presence, that thing that was being taken care of needs to end, terminate, or continue, so that your understanding of your presence in that dimension can be completed. Moreover, as you're doing this, you're gonna at moment you may not have images at all. It might be a sense that I went sideways, I went somewhere else. It may appear to you that you're sleeping. It is not sleep. In my deep and long experience with this, it's not sleep. What happened in the charismatic movement of the Catholic Church, they call this the rest of the Holy Spirit. It is a moment where you become so unburdened with anything that's 3D related. You're in such transcendence that the transcendence and the release of everything takes you into awe. And this awe makes you what appears to be catatonic for a moment. Meaning You are simply at rest and you seem not to be able to move. Because the release is so profound and so deep. So that's what we have to work with. And when that happened, don't think that you went sideways, you didn't do it right, I should start it again because I think I went somewhere else, I went sideways. No. Whatever experience that you're having, because you're counting with your fingers, you will find your place. No, that was the fourth guardian I finished. Now it's the fifth. And if it's the fifth, it's coming from the core of the earth. It's rotating, counterclockwise, and it's going upward, and you move on. Because it takes a minute for a 3D awareness to remember. Because everything I'm telling you now, your body, we descended. It's the ascent we're trying to remember. So it's a question of remembering what my presence is like in 4D, what my presence is like in 5D, and so on, all the way back to God. And for me to remember all of this, it's going to take a minute. And that's the reason for the practice, the cultivation. We're doing the cultivation so that we can remember. One by one, piece by piece, block by block, we're gonna have awareness, and before you know it, you're gonna get to a point where you will move to presence in 4D. My presence and my beingness in 5D. My presence is 6D, 8D, 10D, all the way back to the 15th dimension, and all of it will align. And when that happens, one day you're gonna sit like this doing the practice, and you're gonna go right into the white space. Now you've already, as I said, all of you, the indications are clear from my meditation and my practice and to experiences that some of you are reporting back to me. We are all collectively ascending, and we are literally teetering the edge from the 11th level of initiation into the 12th. We're going back and forth, back and forth. And I'm profoundly happy because I had said to you long ago, since 2008, I've been saying this to you, I have linked my ascension to all of yours. The mistake I made in past lives is that I ascended myself, and I was trying to bring you up from the level that I was at. And I was partly successful, not completely successful. That the real way to do this, and I figured this out only in this lifetime, and it's through the energy of neutrality, because right now we're living in a survival mode, and that survival mode creates a bipolar relationship between top dog and bottom dog, alpha and beta. Whereas neutrality says no alpha, no beta. Everybody is equal to each other, and the collective awareness that all of us create takes care of everybody's need equally. It's a complete reorganization of how consciousness actually operates. I was talking this morning about this, that scientists are now saying, because somebody was asking about lower species and animals, and I was talking about the fact that, for example, because your consciousness, once you're in that state of awareness, let's say you achieve it and you're at 51% most days, and you're there in that elevation. That extension, that elevation, that height that you're feeling, that lot of extended height, begin to change the atoms and the molecule, not only in your body, but of everything around you. Meaning the air that you breathe. I don't know if many of you already noticed this, that when you're about to do your practice and you go to your special seat where you do the practice, the moment you sit down, automatically your consciousness already begins to shift without even calling the guardian or asking the guardian to come in. The moment you sit, everything inside of you begins to shift already. It's because the seat, because of the practice, has created a portal at that location, a doorway. This is what Lord Melchizedek was talking about, creating, boring and opening into the heaven. It's already there. And because it's there, when you sit and you're doing the practice there, it's going to make that location holy. It's shifting everything, atom, molecule, everything. Okay, our connection, for example, to give you a sense on how we affect everything. Because of connection to the guardian, we now are becoming neutral, because the big part of doing this practice is that you're going to understand neutrality differently than you did 2 years ago or a month ago or a week ago. Neutrality is not a disconnect to the injustices of the world. It's accelerated conflict resolution. And internally, if there is something in your heart, in the physical world, an individual, a collective that you're not neutral to, okay, that you have some item that are still unresolved, emotions that are still charged, the field is going to give you the opportunity to become neutral to them, to achieve that neutrality in 3D. Once that is achieved, you can ground the energy and you have achieved the presence in all this higher dimension. You become so open that the portal now is not just in the seat, the portal is in you. And wherever you go, the entire seat moves with you. You will walk down the street, and as you're walking, you can feel energetically, because the presence is still with you, you can feel energetically when people are crushing the threshold of your torsion field. You can sense and understand when an individual are in distress. You can, and you will know a lot of things. And here comes now something that I cannot teach, which is the growth and the acquisition of true wisdom. When you're in that presence, because it's not you anymore, let's say somebody is trying to talk to you, and you're in that, the presence, and you're one. The person who's talking to you, friend, family member, coworker, is not talking to you. They're talking to the God that you're grounding in your core. That's who they're talking to. And you will understand weaknesses on them. You will understand strength. You will understand. There are times I'm so moved in talking to people, I want to hug them. In some instances, I remember in my former office, there were moments I got up and I hugged everybody in the office. I went around and I hugged everyone. Because I felt if I didn't do this, something inside of me was going to break. And what I can say to you is that when you're in that state of expansion, you see secrets that people are lying to themselves about, but you will see it clearly. And the key to wisdom is to not use that information tactically to in any way damage or separate yourself from anybody in the world. I have to make you understand. The torsion field, if you're doing it right, nothing in time and space can hurt you. Nothing. Not bullet, not fire, not gun, not weapon. It doesn't matter what it is. It cannot hurt you. Because the torsion field and your presence in all these realms makes you zero charge. Doesn't matter what the chaos is that's happening around you, it will not touch you. And therefore, there is no necessity for you to battle or to be combative to anyone. I have taught this mechanic, as you know. At one point there were lots of people that was following this teaching, and many of them have dropped off because they were using the torsion field as a way for them to battle other people, to get tactical information from them, because it allows them to have access to all of this information, and then they use it to battle with other people, emotionally, psychologically, or psychically, to battle. And the moment that happened, what happened? Because anything you bring in the torsion field, it will manifest. So if you bring acrimony into it, it will bring more acrimony to you. So the idea is to, when you sense somebody's weakness, you have to be wise and understand that, yes, I see where they are and what they are thinking. And if sometimes the information, what they're doing is seem to go against you, against your own self-interest. I remember being fired at the last office job that I had, and I remember looking at her, and I smiled. One of my other coworkers, as soon as my boss said, well, "You got to leave today," blah blah blah, and I packed up my bag. One of my friends came, "Oh my God, Pierre, I'm so sorry," and I just looked at her because they crossed each other, and I said, "She's gonna need me. She's making a huge mistake," and she did. Because guess what? As soon as I left, her husband had cancer, and I had help emotionally. 2 other people in the office that were dealing with the same thing who went in remission, and she didn't know how to come back to me to ask me for help. I knew this. The moment she did this, I knew. I said, she's going to regret this. But it was my time to leave anyway. I needed to leave that place and do what I'm doing now full time. So she did me a favor. I didn't take it personally. I was non-attached to all of it. But I knew she was going to regret this. So a lot of time people are doing things, they think they're moving against you, they have one up against you, and you're looking at them because you're the Lord extended that, you're so elevated, you're looking at them and you understand future timeline, and you realize, wait a minute, they're actually shooting themselves in the foot. They're going to regret this. But that's the way for them to learn. There's nothing that you can say to them that will cause them to act differently. And that's the where wisdom comes in. You cannot learn for anybody. You cannot, so many of you, I remember years ago, one student around me was displaying a certain behavior, and I kept on trying to warn him. And what I do a lot of time when I understand something and that you're going through, but I cannot tell you, because here is the reason. If I tell you point blank exactly what I'm seeing, I will cheat you out your opportunity to self-discover the issue. And in the self-discovery, to own it for you and to know that there's something that came through your God from within yourself. And that's invaluable, and that experience is more powerful than me just blurring out and telling you X, Y, Z or the other. So it's important for us to understand that when we are bringing information to people, when we are seeing and perceiving things around them, as the example of this young man, the behavior was there and I had witnessed it. What I did is that I gave him breadcrumbs. I tried to explain to him. I went around it. I circled around it until one day he was able to figure it out. This is 9 months later. And then he figured it out. He's like, oh my God, I got it. And then as he was telling me what he got, I was so happy for him, and I just smiled. And he looked at me, he said, "You've known this?" I said, "Yes, I have." "How long?" I said, "About 8 to 9 months. And he was in awe. It's their own karma and their own path. The way God was able to reach me and give me the awareness to see this, God can reach them too. I can guide you, I can mentor you and give you breadcrumb and give you tools, but it's your responsibility. I can't split your head and put the information in. You have to figure it out. Slowly, gradually, incrementally, you have to figure out how your karma, how you know, particularly if it's a long-standing emotional issue, what you need to do, the shift of awareness that needs to happen for you to stop the behavior. So there is and when you expand that way, when you begin to be so non-attached and you're walking in the world most of the time as a proxy or an avatar for God, it will come with a lot of gift. Now, initially, I'm going to be completely, direct and honest with you. Initially, you're going to make mistakes. Because when this begins to happen initially, you're going to not listen correctly. And the reason for this is because the way when you're at that expanded, that spirit gives you wisdom and understanding, is so subtle and so fast that you blink, you're going to miss it. And after the fact, you're going to realize, wait a minute, the reason I'm struggling with this, there was a little whisper of a voice that told me an hour before all of this problem started not to do this. And with the repeat of many of these things, you're going to realize now I need to listen to that little whisper as it comes in. Because it's very soft. God doesn't scream. The voice of God is a whisper. It's a fleeting, it feels like a wave of goodness that washes over you, but it's very fast and it's a whisper. And it's for you to learn instead of, because we're used to loud stimuli, we need to differentiate the two. So it's you as a child learning how to walk. You have to figure out how to walk in this bigger body that you are. In fact, physically speaking, some of you may have experiences as you're doing this practice now that you feel like you're negotiating turns in your house where you bump into wall because you're so disoriented as to what size you really are. It feels like your shoulder or your width is wider than it really is. You may have problem with this already. And it's not vertigo. It's just that you're energetically and spatially, you're bigger. And also intuitively, you have now tapped into so much more, and you will have a lot of information to try to figure out how to process. As I said, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to say the wrong thing. And the mistakes are simple. Let me explain. So let's say, for example, you're talking to someone. And in the process of talking, the presence is with you. In the process of talking, they ask you for something, or they ask you for an advice, and so on and so forth. Or they're telling you something that's happening in their life with their relationships, whether it's at work or with family or whatever. And as they're telling you this, the fans show up. You see 4 things, or 5 things, or 6 things simultaneously. Here comes the issue. Do you respond by telling them all 4 things? And I don't have an answer. The answer has to come with you and the presence. Sometime what I ask, when I see it like this, it's spread out, everything shows up simultaneously. I ask Spirit, what do I tell them? Which part of this poo-poo platter do I actually bring to their awareness? And what usually happens, the one that I'm not supposed to present to them because they are not prepared or ready for, begin to fade away. They fade in the background. They disappear. All of a sudden, it's like an eraser, a magic eraser. It fades, and there might be one or two things that remains. That's what they need to hear. Or in some instances, it's none of them. You see it, but it's none of them. Now, the way I also communicate with a lot of my friends and family members is that, you know, the deepest lies are the one that we tell ourselves. People a lot of time lie to themselves so deeply that they don't realize that they're even lying. They're telling you a story and they think the story is the truth. And they're describing their struggle. And the way it shows up to me, and I'm going to try to describe it in best way possible so that you can catch it as well, because it takes a minute for you to get it. If somebody's telling you a story about something that happens to them, and then the next thing you know is that they jump over something, it feels like there is no linear emotional progression between one state and the next. There is a gigantic jump. And when there's a jump like this, I said, wait a minute. Go back again and tell me this again. You said X, Y, Z, and then what? And then they repeat it again. And at that moment, a fan or a little vignette open up. And I see more detail what they are camouflaging to themselves. For that to happen, you see, this is why I'm asking you to focus on the ringing in the ear. You have to listen extremely well. You have to listen extremely well. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, they're not being honest with themselves. Now, I then ask Spirit, because I'm not just myself. I'm not just Pierre. There's a presence with me. I'm acknowledging the presence and the help that the presence is giving me. I then ask the presence, should I bring this up to them? In some instances, no. Give them, they are not prepared. Give them something, like, for example, a lot of time when my client brings something to when I see something like this, they are not ready for them, I give them a personal example in my life, or an example with me with another student. I talk about the third party, but I give them an example. And that's my way of living breadcrumb for them. So that when they have the breakthrough, they own the breakthrough as being their breakthrough too, because when they own the breakthrough, they remove the bread of shame. That's the reason why you don't cheat them out of it, because they need to remove the shame. So a lot of time when that information is presented, I see it like that, and I know I'm not supposed to. I talk about a struggle that I had in the past, because I was not always. My halo was crooked at one point. I was like them, like all of you. I didn't fall out the way I am right now. Or I give an example with another client or somebody else. And as I explain it, it is my hope that the example that I'm giving them will give them clues, contextual clues for them to figure out what they need to do to remove the shame and get to the breakthrough. The key, again, to all of this is to do the practice and focus on the presence. Each guardian is giving you neutrality and protection. It's not just neutrality and protection. It's actually gifting you with an expansion of your consciousness, your presence in that higher dimension. And that's the real gift. At every level, every dimension, every guardian that comes in, you become a new an extended I am that I am. Next guardian comes in, an even bigger, wider, more extended version of I am that I am. And when all of it is done, you literally, the sensation sometimes for me is that when I'm in my apartment building, I feel the presence. I'm tall. I'm big. I feel the presence. When I step out of the building, it's like a gigantic Hollywood spotlight. You know when they're doing the Oscars, right now they have the Oscars today, the stars are coming in, like a giant light. I can feel I'm expanded. And at that point, as I'm walking down the street, everything around me is heightened. Everything that I'm seeing, the bird, right now there are some flowers that are starting to come out. I saw some flowers blossoming today, or beautiful yellow flowers. I actually took a couple of pictures of it. And it's the first flowers I saw for this season. And I'm beginning to notice all of these things. And as I'm doing this, the beauty of it, the awareness of it. Why? Because molecularly, DNA-wise, the difference between human beings, and this is why we incarnated on Earth. This is why I started the class by saying we volunteer. We came here to do this. The difference, although the opening that needs to happen between Earth creatures, human, and all Earth creatures, and the upper realm is being held inside of a shield or a kaleidoscope of illusion. But when you are walking in that presence, when you're allowing all of this to happen, you break that. And what happened is that because my DNA and the DNA of all human beings are so close, and it's not just human being, because my connection, for example, scientists have determined this, that DNA-wise, my DNA and that of broccoli, the difference between me and broccoli is 2%. So as I am ascending and I'm connecting and my presence become aware of all of these celestial hosts and all of the higher realm, I am now, that same presence that I'm feeling, I can broadcast it to the morphogenic field. And everything that share DNA with me, including the fallen beings, are going to remember that they have a path of redemption that exists in them. Now, not everybody that will, a lot of times, I thought neutrality was all about light individual wanting to do this work. It's not true. There are people who are, I've shared this experience in the past, I don't want to go back into it. There are people who are battle fatigue, who have worked and battled, that were part of the, let's just say the principality that we're working with, other principalities that are exhausted, and they're seeking neutrality, and they should have, as long as you have a willing heart. It's not for me to judge you and to deny you access to this information because of a past history. Because none of them, if you look past I've done past life regressions and taking people in past life. All of us have done things that were completely out of alignment, if not at some time even cruel. And because of this, we have to, and look where we are right now. If we can do this, they can do it too. So when I see individuals who are not intentionally but hiding things from me or from other people, they don't mean to. I have a compassionate heart. I understand them in ways that are much deeper. And that's the part that I cannot teach. Because there's no book written about this. This comes from experience. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to, for example, the fan opens up, you say the wrong thing. You're going to, and then it creates all kind of snowball effect that cause people to unravel and be hurt. You realize, wait a minute, I made a mistake with this. That's what I should have done. That's the only way you're going to learn. It's like the child that falls down multiple times before they learn how to walk, how to get up and actually walk. The mistakes you said Ho'oponopono toward, you will have to live with. You cannot go back and change them. They are part of the learning process. But soon you're going to find your sea leg and you're going to figure out what I can say, what I cannot say. Sense of commission and sense of omission. There are things you should say, there are other things you should hold your peace. There are moments where Spirit is going to tell you, no, do not say this. And you need to obey, because when you're in that presence and that presence is telling you something, every time I do not obey, I paid for it. Sometime I had this multiple time experiences like this, particularly when I parked my car, not by my sister's in Brooklyn, but by me in Manhattan. Multiple times. When after a half hour, 45 minutes of driving around, finally find parking, I'm going to put my car there. And then Spirit says to me, move the car, it's not safe here. No, I look at the sign. It's the next morning I go, the car is towed. The car is not where it's supposed to be. And it's very expensive mistake. Because there's a ticket attached to it, there's storage, there are all kinds of fees, and the inconvenience of having going to the pound now to pick up my car. So what I'm saying is that we need to be very aware that as it's not just the presence, we're going to be like a child newly born in a different state of awareness. And we have to learn how to walk, talk, communicate from that realm. Any questions or comments?
Yes, Pierre, if we are working on the torsion field and letting it develop, witnessing its growth, I guess there are two questions here intertwined. Each dimensional body that we come to will have a different than I'm not sure, feeling or whatever the impression is, I suppose. So not any two would be the same, I suppose.
Yes.
What if we do not feel anything? Do we move on to the next? Will the guardian stay at that level, or how does that work?
Sometimes it's not that you're not feeling anything, it's that something is being projected. You're just not, the awareness of it has not arrived your consciousness yet.
And so, how would we then manage that?
For now, move on and go to the next piece and the next piece. And then when you go back, eventually something will break through.
Okay. There are times when I think, Bobby, you've said the same thing. You see colors. That could be the impression of that dimensional beingness.
Yes. Sometimes it's colors, sometimes for me it's sounds, different sounds, not just the ringing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's bells, and sometimes it's like other things, okay, that I'm hearing, like on pitch, like sound. The other time it's a scene, an entire scene, like a waterfall or something of that effect, okay, or something that has so much color in it. I don't have a word in 3D reality to describe it.
Would you say that these impressions of visions or smells or whatever aren't necessarily what we appear like, but they represent something about them? Maybe it's an aspect of, let's say, a waterfall that it isn't that you look like a waterfall, but but there is something about that waterfall that reflects you in that
Yes.
dimension.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. And again, the colors and the fluidity of the color, because in other words, if you look at the fundamental particles of quantum physics, there are four fundamental particles. There's electron, and they are not particle. They are actually fluid. Think of a lava lamp. Okay, they are fluid, and you have a field of electron, a field of neutrino electron, a field of up quark and down quark. Those are the four fundamental principles. And then they repeat themselves in different ways and all that. But these fluids behave in ways that these energies, these waves, sometimes I don't see things, I feel the wave clashing over me. Like energetically, I feel it. It's very hard to describe because it feels like goodness, but I don't. It has a different signature than the previous one. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So it could be a different octave of the same.
Yeah, or it could be one is like up quartz, the other one is a down quartz.
Mm.
Do you understand? But they are fluidically moving around each other like a like a lava lamp, and as it moves, it clashes, and I can feel the difference emotionally and energetically. I can feel this is different from that one.
Hmm.
And sometimes it shows up as colors, like these waves of like blue and magenta and yellows, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, and most of the time, if somebody's looking at me, my head is spinning because my eyes are closed, but I'm following it.
Yes. So therefore, if we would say at the moment we're not perceiving what is being projected at any one of the dimensions and we'll move on, yet it is the guardians who have charge of the speed or the movement through the different dimensions. How do we trigger that movement then if we want to go on?
Well, you can just say, "I'm ready for the next, I'm ready for the next guardian," and see what happens.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready for the next guardian, right? And let's see what happens in the second guardian, the fourth, the fifth one. Just show the next one shows up, and then the process is resumed. A lot of times for me, it's it feels like I'm lost, but I'm not lost because the field is very forgiving. When you think you're lost, it's because you need to, the part of you that exists in that realm need to see the color or need to see the waterfall, need
Mm,
to experience whatever that is. It needs that information right now so that, because in order for you to reestablish your presence in that realm, that
mhm.
experience is necessary for you at this moment.
Right. So it's like each dimensional beingness could be a virtue, one of the uh, dimensional shifts through the virtues, but that may have been represented in a waterfall, that particular.
It's possible. And somebody had asked earlier a question about this, very interesting question. That when we're doing the monadic merger, if you remember the monadic merger, it's like you're sitting on a clock. 12
Yeah.
o'clock is in front of you, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and everything is around you. And you're connecting to all your soul fragments, 144 of them, 143 of them, and you're 144th. And she was asking the difference between the two. The monadic merger and your monad is horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
The dimensional thing is vertical.
Mm-hmm.
But but the difference is that the torsion field is not just vertical because it's encompassing. It's a donut. It also includes the entire monad.
It's width and height.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I see.
It includes everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had to explain it to her differently because I'm trying to use language because she was trying to explain to her when you're learning how to sing, there are certain kind of vocal exercise that may more connected to your head voice. There are other exercise that with your chest voice, and and it doesn't mean that the exercise itself is exclusively the only thing you need to focus on for you to sing an entire aria. It simply means it gives you access to certain part of your diaphragm and your vocal control, and through that you can it will allow by doing that exercise it can allow you to then sing the entire aria better.
Right.
So similarly the monad is the exercise of the monad is one of those kind of exercise to make you understand energetically how wide you really are. But now you're understanding how wide, how high, all of it together.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Thank you.
Because when you're focusing on each one of the guardian at 3 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, you're looking all behind you, and something is coming in. So energetically, you've expanded your awareness into a different, other parts of yourself that's outside of you. Now let's bring all of this together. So it's important as we're doing this that we focus on all of the pieces of ourselves that are aligning to give us the shift. So focus on the presence, focus on the pieces that it's time to create. Take your time, particularly on weekends or when you have a little bit more stress over time. Sit down, take several breaths through each guardian, allow the energy to do what it needs to do. And if you feel that nothing is happening, it's not that nothing is happening, Janice. I'm going to say this again. Sometimes I feel like I go catatonic. I'm like I go blank. It's not blank. When I focus slowly on what I think is the blank, the next time I do it, the third, the fourth day, all of a sudden I realize, no, it's not blank when I get to the sixth guardian. It's actually awe. The energy is so intense and so big and so different from me that I don't know where to begin. It's like you're seeing a brilliance that's so extraordinary, you don't know where to begin. And I have to skirt it for several days before I can finally allow myself to engage with it. Does that make any sense, Janice?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes.
Pierre, did you get a date for WESAC yet?
It's May 3rd.
May 3rd. Okay, thanks.
Yes.
That reminds me, Pierre, we need to please schedule a time
You
to
go over, yes, the audio. Yes, not a problem.
Mhm.
remember the days when we used to print
Yes,
programs for these things. Oh my goodness, it's so much easier now, except
exactly.
we have the glitch of these.
Update with these apps.
Yeah,
They're messing up everything. Yes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you noticed. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. And the guardian alliance of light approach you, offering to gift you their shields of light and protection and the band of neutrality. If you are ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively. And let the energy of the first guardian begin in the core of the earth, counter-rotating, passing to the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the fourth dimensional body while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The access at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, coming in from the top of the fifth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, descending into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The access at the top at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the third guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, rotating counterclockwise, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and moving into the top of the sixth dimensional body, while creating all around me. A torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the fourth guardian, coming in from the top of the seventh dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the eight-dimensional body while creating all around me the torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian, rotating clockwise, coming in from the top of the ninth dimensional body, cascading down, moving through the top of my head, passing through my core, exiting the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me the torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 10th dimensional body, while creating all around me the torsion field of neutrality. the access, deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 8th guardian coming in from the top of the 11th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, descending into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting the bottom of my feet and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gifts received. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 9th guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 12th dimensional body while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 10th guardian, coming in from the top of the 13-dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th Guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 14-dimensional body while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. Deep and profound reverence for the gifts received. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 12th Guardian, rotating clockwise, coming in from the top of the 15-dimensional body, moving to the top of my head, dropping through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. are in the rest and stillness of God. Listen. Listen as if the more than 150 trillion cells in your body had ears. What insights expansion elevation and healing is this benevolence trying to share with you. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I want to thank all of you for listening tonight, for supporting us, and for doing this incredible work. We're almost there, my family. We're almost there. And I look forward to crossing the finishing line with all of you. Deep gratitude. Love you so much. Good night, everyone, and I'll talk to you next week.
Good night. Love you all.
Love you too.